All right, we're about to go live. Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm a little bit late today. Lots going on. But I'm ready. Hit that like, share the show, annoy the maggot in your life, and your local favorite FAUXGRESSIVE.
He did some song.
Almost there. All right, and we up on Instagram? We are. Substack. There we go. Looking good. Get that up. Wish there was a way to open that. Wish there was a way to open that without having to auto-play the audio on it and get a loop back on it. It's just the price of doing business in the modern world. Walk beside me, my world walks on by. One more minute. Sorry. All right. Let me get up here and running. There it is. Hey, show's working now. Welcome. Sorry for the delay, folks. It's family FaceTime day and schedule got slightly pushed. So, hello. Good to see you. So much to talk about, and we'll never have enough time. So I feel like we should dive right in. But first, I want to say hello to the greatest chat room in the history of chat rooms and the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. What's up, Sparklers? How you guys doing? All right. I gotta say, there is a bottomless pit of distractions around Trump, and I gotta say, it's not surprising, but I want to jump right in with a couple of points I'd like to make right off the bat. Number one, MAGAts, listen up. People might have to share this clip out because I don't know necessarily that they jump in this early. They tend to show up late because, you know, they're lazy and stupid. MAGAts, listen up. You cannot have your leader claim to be the man who's in charge of everything. I run the government and the world. You can't have a guy who says that shit and then get pissed when the people who are basically tasked with the job of going after the man, people like South Park, end up going after him. You whiny little bitches. What you can't be the hero and the victim at the same time. You can't be your own damsel in distress, you fucking wet diapered toddlers. Stop bitching about the fact that this asshole can't take a joke. It's really lame. It's like strikingly lame. In the face of all the other stuff that's going on, it's maybe even it's more pronounced because you assholes can't deal with the Epstein thing, right? It's amazing. Somebody called the wambulance for these motherfuckers. It's pitiful. Get over yourselves. Only a weakling can't take a joke. And Trump has never been able to take a joke. Therefore, cogito ergo sum, e pluribus unum, have a nice day, he's weak. And every time you bitch about somebody making fun of him or mocking him, you point out the fact that not only are you weak for following him, but he's weak because he can't take a fucking joke. And the other thing is not only if you're in the position of authority, you're the fucking president of the United States, you're the fucking principal of the high school, I don't give a fuck. If you have power over other people, they're going to take the piss out of you. And if you can't handle it, you cannot do the job. And Trump's problem isn't just that he can't take a joke, he is a joke. And you know it, that's why you get upset. That's why you guys can't deal. Let's be honest. The reason why all of MAGAdom gets upset when people mock Trump is because they know that whoever's telling the joke is right. That's why you get upset. You get upset when people make fun of Trump's stupid fucking hair and his stupid fucking cheating at golf and his dumbass properties and his shitty restaurants and his crappy golf lodges and his broke ass leveraged fucking buildings with the sewage backup and the fucking Alpha Bank servers in the basement. The reason you get upset about any jokes around those things is not because of the people that are telling them. It's because you know they're true. That's why. That's why you're upset. You're upset because they don't sound like jokes to you. They sound like criticisms based on reality, which they are. They're just funny to anybody who isn't gargling his balls every fucking day. So hop off his dick, you testicular pelican, and get some fucking perspective. Other than that, I have no opinion. This is HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Now, the second thing is that apparently I was the target of a TikTok. Ooh. Someone took a clip from the show. I couldn't watch it because I don't have TikTok because TikTok is malware. Get it off your fucking phone. And apparently they themselves also don't have the fortitude to put it anywhere, that isn't run by ByteDance and the Chinese government. And I, first of all, very excited. It's about goddamn time. Secondly, I think there was something to it. And again, I can't watch the whole thing because I don't have TikTok. So it just asked me to download. I was like, fuck you. Is that apparently it was a mask off moment. Yes, that apparently I went mask off. And I don't know what it was in reference to, again, because I don't download Chinese malware onto my fucking phone. But I'm fairly certain it had to do with somebody asking me about my opinion about Gaza and I'm guessing, my statement about that ship has sailed because of FAUXGRESSIVE assholes who sold the Gazans down the river. And, which is exactly what fucking happened. So, in response to that, if indeed I think that's pretty much what the gist was. In response to that, the question was by this person apparently, what is your answer to my criticism? Here is my answer. Watch my video again and then go fuck yourself. I don't say things just because my audience likes it. I don't say things because it will impress people. I say things because I think they have value and need to be said. Let me explain this too, and this is something maybe we could all learn as a valuable social media lesson. There are things that are valuable to know. There are things that are valuable to experience in your own life. And then there are things that are one of those things, but also are valuable to be expressed. Not only are they worth knowing for your own life, but your knowledge of them has enough depth where you can express it to another person and they'll get it and it may help them. Now, that's not everything. And a lot of people spurg all over fucking social media with stuff that might be good to know or might make you feel good to think you know, and they just blurb it out when they have no actual connection to it. They're either just like playing like group badminton, and they're just whacking the shuttlecock that they saw. Just get it over the fence. I don't care what it is. Just get it over the fence. That's all they care about. That's all that matters, is that it's coming their way. Just bat it in the direction of the other side, without actually understanding that it has no weight, and you're just fucking batting a fucking like a little ping pong ball with feathers attached to it, right? It has no weight. It's not going to help. It doesn't matter. And you don't have a grip on it enough, even if it did matter, to do it any good. And that would go to my third statement. This goes out more to the FAUXGRESSIVES, because quite frankly, this is not necessarily a lesson I want the MAGAts to learn. I feel like anybody who's, wants ill will towards most of humanity, I feel very bad sometimes when I'm expressing certain things and I'm like, man, if they heard me, they might actually figure out how to message this awful better. And I don't want that. I hope they miss this part and, whatever. But there is a key to this, is that sometimes the message is more important than the messenger. I think we can agree. Most of the times when it's worthwhile, the message is more important than the messenger. And you will get it no matter who delivers it. But then there are some areas where, because of socio-political pressures, cultural matters, history, complexity, it is difficult for people to absorb the issue. And so the messenger about it matters a lot. It matters where it's coming from, whether you trust that person, whether they speak your language, whether they can express this thing in a way that you will absorb. Yeah? Okay. And there's an issue largely with FAUXGRESSIVES. And I don't mean like the folks over at TYT, who I believe genuinely mean ill. But I think there are a lot of what I guess I would call them bad shepherds of good flocks. And they spend a lot of time flocking around. And that they think, because the message is important and the message has weight, by carrying that message, even if they do it really poorly, especially if they do it really poorly, I would argue, they believe that the weight and importance of that message, whether they understand it or not, this kind of general social acceptance of a particular point of view or in their social circle, if they carry this bucket and deliver the message, if they think they will gain value from being the messenger, that there's a courageous aspect or a valorous, a stolen valor of creating the message. I heard this from somebody else, not my idea, but I heard it from somebody else. I'm repeating it basically verbatim. I don't actually get it. I don't actually I'm not actually communicating it. I'm just repeating what I've heard, bumper sticker style, right? And MAGAs do this all the time. And the very person who carries that message or whatever also wants, look how important the message, look how good this makes me look to say these things. That's what the right accuses the left of, like virtue signaling, right? That's what they'll call it on our side. And on the right, it's really about artificial or performative fidelity to MAGAtdom or to Trump himself or or I guess by association, them all just applaud. Like basically every maggot right now, everything they're saying is applauding Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, you should just hear what they're saying, no matter what they're talking about, whether it's fucking tariffs or the border or any of that kind of. This is all they're doing. They're just hooray, Jeffrey Epstein. That's what they're doing. That's what they're actually saying. That's what their message is, because it's their fidelity to Donald Trump will not allow them to distance themselves away from Jeffrey Epstein's wingman, right? But there are on the fringes, and this is why I stay away from the whole both sides do it shit. On the fringes of anything, the fringe is more like a circle than it is a side. And that if you get to the sort of ad absurdum limit of an idea, you will find the fringe believers. Now, I would argue the value of weirdos is that some people who go to the extreme, whether they're extreme vegans or they fucking, live in the woods all the time and they never have a house and they've gone, or, the Amish or whatever, there's a value to people who will go further than most society will. But they usually die early and of something that stings or itches. And so, or makes them fall asleep before they're consumed. And, so that's not good for general society, but they have value that they will go that extra few steps beyond what's normal. But when they expect normalcy to behave like them, that's the problem. Because they themselves do not know that the ground that they are walking on or treading on, yes, zealots in particular, they do not know that it will actually resolve well. They don't. But they act as if it's the only path. And that's where you get into maggots to Branch Davidians to Jonestown to fucking, deep-seated KGB sleeper cell people and folks that will, I would argue, vote R even when Donald Trump is at the helm, as if the Republican Party has continued to be whatever the fuck it is, right? Now, the great thing about being a Democrat, even with a big D on your chest, is that I'm voting for the diversity of thought that is out there. You don't have to agree with everything I want to do to be part of democracy, which is what being a Democrat to me is about. So I don't need, as a matter of fact, I think it is antithetical to being a Democrat to be a purist, right? Because you're automatically excluding the conversation. I mean, you can argue that by volume, most of us want some form of single-payer or universal health care at some point, right? We want to get there. I do. I think most of you guys do. How you get there and whether or not it works when you do takes some actual thought. And there's a lot of meeting in the middle. There's a lot of actual legislating and fixing and you got to check the tires all the time to make sure this thing keeps rolling, right? Otherwise, there'll be a backlash and it's done. England got theirs because they were basically bombed to nothing in World War II, and we don't want to wait for that to happen unless you're Susan Sarandon and you hope the world ends just to show them, right? So no purity test for me. I want government fascist free. Right, that's exactly right. That fascism has many faces, and an insistence on behavior to a rigid code is a form of fascism in a democratic situation. Anytime there's a populace, anytime there's a citizenry, right? So for me, as a Democrat, we can have conservative Democrats and liberal Democrats and the entire spectrum, in and amongst that, because within that idea that everyone's voice should count and that we're all created equal, all those different opinions might get us to something that we all have blind spots on if we just focus on, my way or the highway, right? So, to everybody who would institute a purity test, I would, my first reaction, is to just say fuck you. But I think you'd be welcome in the Republican Party, because the essence of the Republican Party is indeed one of the oldest purity tests there is. And that purity test is the haves and the have-nots. God has gifted the haves and they deserve it. This is like the Joel Osteen kind of, God wants you to be abundant, and if you're not abundant, you're probably not in line with God. And the haves and have-nots are not an accident of fate or an aspect of, bootstrapping or financial work or any of that kind of stuff. It is literally God favors some and does not favor others. And as a matter of fact, they kind of have it coming. So if you're born poor and you're not able to like accidentally pop into the rich field to like a miracle, if you're denied that miracle, you probably are, you're living out original sin, shit like that, right? The Republican Party is a purity test. The haves versus the have-nots. That's what their party is about. That is the essence of it. That's why it is based on the Electoral College and land ownership. It's why Trump claims victory when he wins counties that are red but empty. You understand? Because to him, a county with hundreds of thousands of people in it, or a county with 12 people who own farms or big estates, the one with the 12 farms or big estates is more valuable to him. Right? And somebody said, again, like Jesus is a progressive socialist. No, progressive maybe, although I think if he was kind of ordering it, it was a directive, love thy neighbor as yourself, and which beats the golden rule. It's purer than the golden rule. The golden rule is still based on self-centered self-interest, still based on self-interest. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you means be considerate of yourself first, whereas love your neighbor as yourself means everyone you meet is an appendage of your own body, that you cannot separate yourself from anyone else. You are doing to others as you would do unto yourself, no matter what. So anyway, it's a bigger philosophical question we can have later. Jesus was a Christian. Was he no, he was the Christ is the idea, right? Jesus was stoic. He couldn't be, because everything was in his locus of control because he was God. That's always the thing about you can't assign politics to Christ. And this is why we have separation of church and state. And this is another thing, and then we'll get into what clips we have today, and because I'm already starting late, so what the fuck. Yes, what you do unto the poorest, you do unto me. That was him taking it very personally, which was a beautiful thing. Jesus was Jewish, and then he ceased to be because he was the first Christian, right? Is that the idea? Is that I believe in the separation of church and state in a legal sense, but I insist that if someone calls themselves a Christian, they have to, and they say it in public, they have to act in the highest order in terms of what they do publicly. And give a shit if I kind of do, but it doesn't matter to me if they're sneaking around and fucking around and all that kind of stuff. But if you're going to legislate as a Christian, I want to see like Jesus language in your stuff. Protection of the poor, the disabled, right? The meek, caring for people who are just trying to care for themselves and among themselves. And if you dare say that your religion causes wars. No, it does not. Lack of resources causes wars. All wars in history, but for, I was about to say but for some, they're all resource wars. They're all based on societal need of supplies. Yeah, you either if you're going to say you believe that, that you're a Christian, you're going to label yourself as such. You're going to carry that around with yourself. I'm fine with that. If you even say, I want to have a prayer in the Capitol and all that kind of stuff, and I brought my pastor or something, and he's going to say the prayer in front of Congress or whatever, I'm actually okay with that as long as your behavior is aligned with that like a fucking tuning fork. And I don't want to hear about Judeo-Christian values. I don't want to hear Old Testament when you're angry and New Testament when you're patting yourself on the back for making it fucking ice cream day. I want you to walk and talk and legislate as if you were giving the Sermon on the Mount. And if you can't, then shut the fuck up. You're not a Christian. You aren't. And the only way I know somebody is actually a Christian, especially in circumstances where they are in a position of power, the only way you should know is by their actions. They shouldn't have to tell you, and if they're wearing a cross, it's fucking, at a certain point, it's gang colors. It's a fucking gang sign. They might as well be doing this. The same way Mike Lindell is, and they're only wearing it for show. It should be, because these are, you got to understand, like Christianity, the root of it is extraordinary in its thought. Right? It's like, think of what it would take even at that time in history, but even now, to be as open-hearted and forgiving as he prescribes. Think about loving thy neighbor as thyself. Love your enemies. Forgive those who've trespassed against you. Right? Think about what it would take to do that in your life. Everywhere, all day, every day. In business, in government, in your family. Think about what that would take. And the extraordinary ask that comes from that thought form. And then think about if you knew somebody personally and you didn't know anything about their religious beliefs, you couldn't see the books in their houses, you didn't know what they believed, right? In that form. All you could do was look at what they do. All they could do. All you could do is just see what their actions are every single day. And that would be the only way you would know, oh, okay, he's doing his best to be as Jesus prescribed. Now picture a person like that. Do they tell you about it all the time, unprovoked? Are they wearing a big fucking cross on their lapel all the time? Do they prescribe church to everybody else? And I don't mean during their early evangelical phase. There's some people who just always talk it up, right? But it's usually self-evident in those people that are doing it from a genuine stance, like, or they'll just go, my wife and I, we were at church this weekend, and da-da-da. If they say something like that, it just kind of, because that's part of their social life, right? And they just say it naturally. There's a difference, and I think you can see it, right? And so I am struck right now by, all right, two things. One is, I was watching a panel on the cast of Mindhunter talking about their experience as actors auditioning for it and that kind of stuff. Like the panel that I did with Queer as Folk recently, and they were talking about how they auditioned or whatever, and they were talking about one of the primary things is that the serial killers they dealt with were all narcissists on some level. Whether they were telling everybody as they were doing it, writing letters to the press and stuff, they wanted credit. They always wanted credit. Look at me. Look what I'm doing. You're afraid of me. They're laying that out there. And that was not about, even in the case of the Unabomber, for example, their message. It was about their own worth, their own ego. And I've argued that all like mass shooters it's an act of ego. Pay attention to me. My gripe is more important than this woman's life. My issues with how I am treated are more important than a stranger I come upon in a hallway in the middle of my thing that I kill, right? And so it's not about, it's never about like what society did. It's never really about any of that shit. It's about the person that does it wanting me time. For real. And if you think it in those terms, it gets real pathetic real fast. And I would argue not to make a direct correlation, simmer the fuck down, maggots, between like magotdom and Trump and that crowd and serial killers. But they make a point in one of the shows about how he goes, how do you become that Nixon had psychopathic traits, and she was doing this. He goes, and Holden Ford asks Wendy, the doctor who they're working with, how do you become the president if you're a psychopath? And she goes, the question is really, how do you become president if you're not? Because of the necessary, just the work that it requires, like the self-focus it takes, or I think she dismisses the blatant altruism. This is, Carter was president when they were talking like this, and he was a sweetheart. But that was the idea, was that you'd have to be a narcissist to even get there. And I would argue that most of the maggot leaders are narcissists. I don't think Trump is. I think he's got low self-esteem and he compensates, but they don't care. They don't know the difference. Jesus was born an immigrant. Again, the Romans had taken over the area, so it's hard to tell whether it was an immigrant or whether they'd been colonized in that regard. Right? The Jews were driven out and Palestine named after the Philistines because there isn't a P or whatever in the language. So instead of the F, they went with the P. All right. Anyways, the name of the Palestinian territories was a colonization phrase by the Romans, like that kind of shit. Okay, whatever. Well, that's another history lesson for another time. The important thing is, though, that there is a narcissistic element of the Republican Party because of their elite status and their belief in the idea of haves and have-nots that is not only not shocking that someone like Trump would boil to the top of that, but that there is nowhere else the Republican Party ultimately can go. Right? That's the end of it, right? It is baked into the concept of Republican, landowners and the Electoral College and the Senate, which is the essence of Republican governance, to run a republic in a bigger form, right? Versus democracy, which is everyone has a say and we'll all work out this messy shit together, which is the Democratic side of things and why I'm a Democrat. Whereas Republicans have elitism built into their system. And Trump's populist bullshit that he was selling is doomed to fail because of the very nature of the party itself, the raison d'etre of the party in the first place. So, if you want a purity test, and this is probably why Anna's moving right and all these people are moving right, because if you want a purity test, the Republicans are your jam. Right? There is no better purity test than I got mine and you can't have it. And as a Democrat, I got to tell you, as much as people might want it or try to sell it, the essence of democracy and the idea of diversity includes within it uncomfortable ideas that have to be worked out in conversation with people you disagree with. Love your neighbors, love your enemy, and look after the poor. That takes work. Being an elitist asshole in New York and Palm Beach doesn't. The success that they value is based on laziness. It's based on, the laziness built into it is how they differentiate themselves. They don't view it as lazy. They call it entitlement. That's why, by the way, they think people who live on entitlements, like Social Security and stuff, are lazy. That's why they think people on welfare are lazy because, again, they are projecting. They can't see another way because it's very black and white. It's very up and down. It's that divide could not be more stark. And so anybody, by the way, who sees a Democrat that they disagree with on a particular issue, or they have a beef with about one particular thing, they don't go far enough on this issue or too far on another or whatever, I got news for you. I'll argue those points with them, but they're still a Democrat, and they still have a right to represent people if they're running for office, even if I disagree with them, if they get the majority of votes, whether it's fucking Cuellar in Texas or Mamdani in New York, right? Because the essence of democracy is everybody has their say, and there's majority rule with protections for minorities built in. Other than that, I have no opinion. That's right. Well, on that note, all right. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. No, I just felt like a few of those things needed to be said. But anybody who tries to purify the Democratic Party and drive out people who are, conservative Dems, centrists, whatever they want, whatever derogatory term they attach onto Democrat, I just want to say that whatever you believe, you're against diversity. You are anti-diversity. You just are. I would argue Republicans, that's not about useful, functional ideas. That's not somebody who's on the same team as you. That's the opposing side, and that's fine. But anybody who is within this big tent and does want these goals and just differs on how to get there, largely, or has legit ethical differences with you on something that you're dug in on or that they're dug in on, that's democracy, man. That's why I'm not down on the United States even right now. And our country, for a lot of years, and through a lot of stuff, slavery, civil rights, suffrage, all these other things, we've been on the cutting edge of the messy parts of human existence. That's why you can dig up, like Florida Man, you can dig up all of this shit, about America's past and what we've been through because we've been on the cutting edge of doing these things. Other countries didn't even bother. Or they're still fucking doing it. And I made this point on, whose show was it the other day? I lost track at this point. But, slavery right now is legal in China and Russia and large parts of the Middle East. And yes, on Titus, thank you. And in North Africa, certain countries in there, Eritrea and others, is legal and practiced in these things, in these countries. Now I know people in China, and when it comes to China, they'll call it forced labor. When it comes to Russia, they'll force conscription of immigrants. They'll gather people up, or they'll basically take North Koreans gifted to them by the government and put them on the front lines. That's not forced labor or forced conscription. That's slavery. You understand? That's slavery. And it's happening now. It's not wage slavery and debt slavery and student loans make me feel like a slave. No, actual fucking slavery right now on this earth. And at some point, like I said, we will get to the point where we can, we'll be able to pare out the finer weeds in the garden. But there are big elements of humanity that are a fucking invasive species doing direct awful and lots of it all at once. And so again, I will say unequivocally, until we have a 60 vote majority in the Senate and 60% of the House and the presidency, I don't want to hear any bullshit about somebody patting themselves on the back for taking a blue district and making it bluer. Waste of fucking time, resources, and human lives. You are wasting human lives in the process. Other than that, I have no opinion. Okay, all right. Now, hi, everybody. You're great. And by the way, I hope CSL had a great birthday yesterday. Last night, Summer and I went and saw Lenny Kravitz. He's doing sort of a residency here. So we're doing our part to keep Vegas afloat. But it was, I got to say, it was, I mean, I like him anyways, and I'm predisposed to liking his show. But it was all killer, no filler, and I think he maybe said like 8 sentences the whole show, and it was just fucking music. It was amazing. Yeah. His he did an interesting thing, which was his encore is "Let Love Rule." Now, a lot of people, they would make, because they want everybody to go out on a specific kind of high energy high. They would have put, "Are You Gonna Go My Way?" or "Mama Said," or, one of those songs, one of the more up-tempo ones, as the, like, oh, he's definitely going to play "Are You Gonna Go My Way," right? So, they, that he hasn't played it, so we'll all clap until he does. He ended with "Are You Gonna Go My Way?" And then when they came back out, they did this big like confetti drop during and doing "Let Love Rule." So I like Summer's so funny because I was like, he as the crowd sang, and people were like, "La, la," or like they're like it just like the whole place. It was packed. There was a big crowd or whatever, and I was like, shouldn't you be singing like we're in a fuck crowd? I literally, like, I barely hear it in the crowd. I'm like, the acoustics in this place must just suck ass, or they're all going that direction. Are we in perfect acoustics or some shit? Like, why is this happening? So I'm literally like, "Let love rule." Like, I'm doing the whole drop down part of it. You've got to let love rule. Like I was just, at one point I was just like, okay, is it gonna be me? It's just like I'm gonna have to be the guy. I'm gonna be the guy. All right, I'll be the loud guy singing my ass off. And so I did, and it was a good time. So it was, but he sounded terrific. He played like a beast, and his guitar player. Craig Ross, I believe his name is a monster. His drummer's amazing. Holy shit. She was just fucking, it was just thunder the whole time. I am that guy, you're goddamn right. So it was just, best sound live show. It sounded like a fucking album. Like, it was so good. And it's all live, because he's a big stickler about that. So, yeah. Sorry I woke your cat up. That happens. So, anyways, it was terrific. If you get a chance to see him, I insist. It's a great show. And you can tell he's like just this big smiley sweetheart. And he's selling this message of love during the things. I think that's probably what got my hackles up about like real Christianity versus this faux Christianity, and real progressive versus faux aggressive, right? That it matters. It's gotta matter. Hal thought he was in the shower. I sing like this anyways. You've been to D&B concerts where people like that? Yeah, it's just whatever. But it was great. I mean, it sounded so good. Am I younger or older? I'm younger than he is. I think he's 60. It looks great though. Yeah. Let's see. Bucket list show for sure. Yeah. And all right. Okay. So let's jump straight into, where is this business? I mean, this, God damn it, so much. All right. All right. I want to jump right in real quick. We're going to start with a video, if I may, about people like, I feel like we should call this one, hey guys, maybe you should sit this one out. This is Chris Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly, who famously had to pay a woman $33 million to keep her trap shut about the horrible things he did to her, on top of the $9 million that other fucking folks at Fox had to spit out on his behalf. And Chris Cuomo, whose wife is in Epstein's black book. So, you'd think maybe around this topic, I don't know, you might want to just like go, hey, you know what? I'm going to hand this off to my co-host and they can discuss this particular issue. Yes? Right. True. So, that's true. All right. So, in Epstein's black book, had to pay a woman because he was sexually assaulting / harassing her for years. Right. I know 56 and a rich. I don't know what the fuck you got to do where $33 million is what the payout costs you. Wow. And on top of, like I said, of the $9 million he paid to other people over the years. So yeah, this was Kash Patel dodging me over Epstein story, Bill O'Reilly. Oh boy.
I have a couple of other things on Epstein. I hate this story, by the way.
Gee, why? Hits too close to home, does it? Imagine how Chris feels every time you bring this up.
Invited Kash Patel to interview with me, turned me down, which is fairly shocking.
Nah, it's not. And why is this? Is it just me or is this like video kind of quiet? Comparatively. Sorry if it is.
Years I've had a respectful relationship with him. He clearly didn't want to come up against me.
Yeah, that's why. Dude, he's not going anywhere. After their fucking debacle about he killed himself, like, he and fucking Bungholio have fucking vanished. Honest to God, dude. This, I mean, sure, take it personally. I don't know if it, as a, but I feel like he thinks this is a boost to his ego, when in reality, like, they're just fucking ducking everybody.
He did some softball interviews with other people he knew he could handle.
I mean, but would you, if you were advising Kash Patel, would you tell him to sit down with you when you know he
Absolutely.
was?
No. Largely because Bill O'Reilly has a history equal to and worse than, in some cases, some of the stuff Trump has been associated with. And he managed to buy his way out of it. So, no, I mean, honestly.
Selling stuff that he now says wasn't true? You would tell him to sit down with Bill O'Reilly?
Just say, look, that's an easy answer. You can say, look, before I didn't have access to the information I have now. That's easy. You can swat that one away. Bongino, I never thought should be in federal government. He made his living on conspiracies. I don't respect that. I don't
Ouch.
respect him. But Patel, I do respect.
Because he's got a real job?
And I think that he should sit down with you and me and maybe the three Americans and explain what the deuce is going on. That's his job. Now, he takes orders from the White House. Everybody
Right, which is exactly why he can't.
should know this. We've gone over this. Everything's run out of the West Wing. Everything.
So it's not Pam Bondi's fault. It's Trump insisting that the Epstein files be redacted and hidden. And so, yes, we know. Thank God Bill O'Reilly is here to tell us that the sun is normally up during the daytime.
So Bondi's not going to release anything unless she's told to. The other thing is that you have had Dershowitz on quite often.
Yeah, he's also in the Black Book, along with your wife. Did they ever meet at the mansion? I know she went there for dinners. Didn't come up, did it?
Dershowitz clearly says there's no downside or deficit for Trump, and he would know.
Yeah, but if he did know the downside, he couldn't say. Also, he apparently thinks there's downside for other people, which means he was directly involved in some of the compromise. Was he involved in all of the compromise?
Right. And is he lying? I don't think he's lying. I mean,
he's lying.
That would be almost inconceivable. From what
almost inconceivable, of course, yeah. It would be inconceivable that he went over to, he got a massage at Jeffrey Epstein's house and kept his underwear on, and it was an old lady. And I mean, as you do in a guy's house.
I understand Ghislaine Maxwell, who never should be pardoned in a million years. In fact, I'd send her to Devil's Island if I were president. She'd be on a little boat going off the coast of South America. Okay.
So you wouldn't wish her well, is what you're saying?
She said to the DOJ people, Trump didn't do anything. It was domestic flights that he took. But here's the real interesting part about the story that you haven't mentioned.
How about the part that she's a habitual liar and she'll do anything to get out of jail, and all she had to do was sell that, and they moved her to a cushy place like Club Fed in fucking Texas, where, depending on who you ask, she's either been done a favor so that she could have an easier time until Trump commutes her sentence, or she's going to get snuffed because a prison that's easier to break out of is also easier to get into and then out of by somebody who might want to.
This is payback for the Democratic Party trying to link President Trump to some kind of heinous crimes that Epstein was responsible for. So what's happening?
Trying to link him? He did an interview saying the guy was fun to be with. Trying to link, this is like fucking, what's her name, saying there's, 3 degrees of separation or 6 degrees away from Epstein for Trump. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, enter Congressman Comer, who's subpoenaing all of these Democrats. Bill Clinton took 17 trips with Epstein, 2 of them without Secret Service, which is hard to believe.
No, because Trump would be the other witness on that flight.
Okay. He's been subpoenaed to come in, as has Hillary, as has most of the Justice Department people under Obama and under Biden. And this is payback time. This is like, did you ever see the movie Scarface, Cuomo?
Yes. So Trump is Scarface in this situation, and he's going to end up in the end with his face covered in blow, saying, "Say hello to my little friend," before he passes away from natural causes a few minutes later, because if you're filled with that many bullets, naturally you're going to die.
Chino? Do you ever see that movie?
Yes, my little friend.
Right now, say hello to my little friend. That's what this is, okay? That's exactly what it is. So Trump's sitting in the White House going, okay, you want to play? You want to play? Okay, we'll play. We'll play.
Oh, my fucking God. Yes, and what happened to Scarface within 5 minutes of that scene? He was fucking dead. And so was his sister. Like, the whole thing came crashing down like 6 minutes after say hello to my little friend. Say goodbye to this dipshit.
And then that's what's going to happen. Now, that's all in September and early October. That's going to be hysteria, mass hysteria, when those people are going to come in.
That's terrible.
And what are they going to do?
But it's
Take
so
the
terrible.
Fifth Amendment?
It's so terrible for the country.
Well, also, you're not bringing charges. There are no charges to be brought against any co-conspirators around Epstein at all, according to this DOJ. So why would anybody come in to answer questions at all about something that the DOJ has already written a memo saying there is no chargeable evidence that anybody else was involved, that he killed himself, and that was that? Right? Again, hoisted by his own petard.
You say it's terrible
for the country.
Wait.
Unless one of them is
may be
actually
right.
connected to a pedophile, then I'm with you. Then I'm with you. But I'm saying
More so than Trump?
Maybe
otherwise it's
right.
just payback.
I don't see this as a positive for the country. But Trump's a human being, and he's watching the Democratic Party in alliance with their enablers in the corporate media try to just bludgeon his reputation. What would you do? You're sitting up there.
I'd release the evidence because I wouldn't have been best friends with a fucking pedophile for 25 goddamn years and claimed ignorance about it. That's what you do. It wouldn't have anything to do with anybody else. They would be embarrassed and you'd shut them down. You'd release the fucking evidence. That's what you'd do. You wouldn't lie and say there's no there. You wouldn't release 10 hours of video saying, you can see clear as day he didn't kill himself, and it doesn't even show the stairs, the door, who came and went, whether that was even fucking Epstein going to his goddamn cell in the first place. The fuck?
The same thing. I
know,
get
Bill,
my friend
that's
out,
why,
and boom,
that's
right
why,
in there.
But, Bill, I don't disagree with you. But
usually that's a sign of disagreement.
That would be us at our worst. And that's why we shouldn't be president of the United States.
Oh, no. Us, well, I guess those two. All right. I thought he meant us as America at its worst.
It's not about
president
that.
of the
It's
United
about,
States, a leader has to be better than how the average person acts at their worst.
You have to send messages.
All right, I gotta go.
You have to. I know. Dusty is saying she's got to go. Go to my YouTube, youtube.com/Bill O'Reilly.
Jesus Christ. You have to send messages, and the message isn't, I'm not in these files, here's everything we have. The answer, the message is, don't pay any attention to the fact that I was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years. Yell at these people, who, by the way, you think, first of all, Bill Clinton will laugh off everything they put in front of him. Hillary, look at the Benghazi stuff. She'll go, well, I don't know, I was never on that plane, but I will tell you this. It was, the Obama administration, moved forward for the victims, and then the Trump administration's when he was arrested and died. You'll have to talk to Bill Barr about what really happened to that dude. And none of us were anywhere near there, but Trump was running the country at the time. Secondly, we know this and this and this and this and this and this and this about him. They could just spill details all afternoon or call back situations where, you won't find a picture of me and Bill with Jeffrey Epstein and our children at a party. You won't see my husband partying with him in a mansion all by himself with a bunch of cheerleader wannabes who thought that they were going to be meeting VIPs at a dinner party or a disco setup where it was just him and Epstein. Think what you want, but it doesn't even chart compared to Trump's shit. Why is he not here? And I think that's what they ultimately all will say is why are you asking me? Trump knows this guy way better than I ever will. Right? That's what's going to happen. It won't be the worst of the worst. It's not going to bring the country to its fucking knees. What they're hoping is the Clintons say no, or they're not going to, that they, defy the subpoena or something like that, or they just go, this is no validity. We have nothing to share. We don't know anything that you guys don't already know, right? That will be the case. Now, if Maxwell says, yes, I saw Bill Clinton do awful with underage girls, the thing is, she brought those underage girls to that plane. Right? So if the Trump administration is giving her immunity for trafficking children, she has to make the case that, A, Bill Clinton had sex with them, that she can prove it in some way, and that he believed them to be under 18 or didn't ask and knew they weren't or some shit like that. This just gets uglier for Trump the further he goes. Now, again, if they're part of it, fuck them. If Bill and Hillary Clinton were part of this, done. I don't care. None of us do. The amazing part is that you cannot hear that from any of Trump's crowd. You will not hear that. Like I think almost everybody in my chat room at some point has said something similar. And most of the people that I know online or that like Boston Brian and others, none of us have any hesitation about any of that shit. If it was a big fucking donor or it was a big party leader or a members of like, who gives a shit? Bye. The things I care about ethically aren't because of the people that are involved. It's because of what I care about ethically. And a wolf in sheep's clothing is not a sheep. It doesn't make me hate sheep. Like, fuck you. The difference is you will not see, you will not see any Trumpers saying that. They can't. You're not hearing it from any of them. You're not hearing from Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly or these, like, none of them are going, look, if Trump is in there, fuck him. Get all of it out, and if he's in there, fuck it. I know he knew him for a long time, and there's a chance he was part of this shit. If he knew about that stuff, I'm done. Like, Vinny's gotten this close to it, and all the guys are fucking sheepdogging him back on Peanut Butter Dickhead's podcast, but everywhere else, even Benny Johnson is fucking whispering into his microphone. I'm like, I don't know, this whole jail video looks a little suspect. That's the issue. The issue isn't whether or not they participate or whatever. But I don't have a fucking problem. Throw them all in jail. Bye. The issue is how it's impossible for MAGAts to come to terms with it and just say that. And I feel like that should be our only goal. If Trump was, knew Epstein was a pedophile at any time before he was turned in or arrested, should he go to jail too for not doing this? Because isn't he responsible for victimizing all those girls? If he knew a friend of his was doing this for years, he didn't do it himself, but he knew. He could have stopped it. Why won't that change your opinion of him? And is that less about him and more about you? And so the question should always be, look, if Trump is engaged in this kind of shit in the files and in the evidence, do you think he should go to jail? The only person we've seen say that is Vinny on Peanut Butter Dickhead's podcast, and he got berated over it. And I would argue, if you knew, you participated in an ongoing scheme. And let me tell you something. There's no way he didn't, because if you can creep out Woody Allen, I don't know if you guys saw the Woody Allen letter, but he describes Epstein's house as Castle Dracula. And apparently, according to that letter, it looks like he never went there without his wife, and that his wife had to tell Epstein and everybody, like, how to actually serve real dinners to these fancy people that were supposedly coming in. Like, get it catered, have someone cook it in the home, that kind of, like, it's a really bizarre letter. You have to kind of read it. It's relatively long, right? But if you can creep him out, eesh. All right, now, remember what I said about the purity test stuff and how you can't be a Democrat and be for purity tests because we are the party of diversity. We do believe diversity is our strength. We also believe in the value of our arguments, and we think, our way of helping actually does work, right? If you believe in what you're doing, I can convince you. I can talk you into it because I believe in what we're trying to do. A lot of people who want purity tests are just, they're not capable of selling the idea, and they know it. So they're just too lazy, and they would just rather find people who are already on board and kick everybody else out. It's like, it's so fascistic and stupid. And it's a problem, not just socially and politically, but politically as well. And if you're trying to get votes and you're trying to get people fucking elected to create policy that will help people, then the purity test is a great way to fuck up all that. And the Republicans are going through that right now. So yeah, let me show you. This is Christina Bobb on this pandemic war room podcast horse shit on real anal gape voice or whatever their shows, RAV. Bannon's War Room, which was the pandemic war room, which should tell you a lot. Anyways, so she goes, we need to continue to clean house and get rid of the Republicans that play for the uniparty and sell out their base. I got news for you. A bunch of those, quote, Republicans that play for the uniparty and sell out their base are the ones that can get elected in their district. If a far-right Republican could get elected in that district, they already would have. This is exactly why, blue for blue's sake doesn't work all the time, and it creates a situation where we've got this even divide because people are only looking, to purity test their way into, severity so that everything, grinds to a halt. And you got Russians all over it trying to make sure our government doesn't work. And so they were supporting Trump not because he would be good for America or good for Russia, but because he would be bad for America. And he's a chaos agent and would distract from the shit that they were doing. Now, Christina Bobb worked for him for a while, and then she fucked up and was kicked to the curb. I don't know what her role is currently, but let this be a lesson to everybody.
You know what we love about All Family Pharmacy? They support your medical independence.
They give you away drugs.
You can customize, and they have these emergency
horse paste. Right?
You see this black box right here?
I do.
I'm going to show you something right now.
I don't want to see it.
Some people are concerned that they may have to
abandoned MAGA, abandoned President Trump, tried to work overtime to steal the 2020 election. He's now officially said what was quite evident for a long time, Christina. He's joined the Democratic Party, right?
Yes, that's true. It's an amazing story. I'm so excited to see it. Yes, he abandoned the Republican Party, the conservatives, the MAGA base. He abandoned all of his constituents.
Are they talking about our friend Joe Walsh, who was just on the other day? Who I would love to have conversations with on policy when all this shit settles.
Long before Donald Trump was even on the picture, according to his latest article at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I mean, he was crying about policy, but in reality, it's about power. This is an old school rhino Republican stronghold in Georgia that has been pushing out the American people. And thank God to the War Room Posse and folks, that listen to the show and other MAGA folks that have been putting the pressure on them for years and years and years. And they are finally abandoning ship. Keep the pressure up. Let's get rid of the rest of them.
Yes, that's a great idea. Considering there are only like 4 districts in Georgia that are really rock solid red, and most of them are just kind of softly conservative. And all you got to do is get a conservative Democrat in there who talks like a normal person, and they'll win. Why do you think Kemp has been on the bad side of Trump the entire time? Because it ain't that kind of state.
Yeah, but this is why you have two. Think about it for a second. In Georgia, you have 2 Democrats in the Senate. This is what I was just saying a second ago.
Right. Yes. Check yourself, motherfucker.
With the new census and not counting illegal aliens, it's stunning that Georgia, because
that doesn't affect the fucking Senate, dummy. That would affect the House, and it won't. How many? Again, yes, do a fucking new census, please. And what do you find? 35 million illegals where they only counted 10 last time? No, you won't. And also, where will they be? Fucking Texas, Florida. Honest to fucking God. And if they do, if there's I don't know how many thinks he's going to exclude in California. Do you think that's going to change the volume of human beings in the solid blue areas of California? The population's so fucking dense in those places, it won't matter. You could skim off 10% of the fucking population and they would still be underrepresented. Meanwhile, out in fucking Bakersfield, where all this shit where McCarthy and all these assholes are, you'll gut the entire districts. You'll shave off 6 Republicans, you dumbass. Do it. I mean, it's unconstitutional, it's stupid, and it's weak, and they're trying to use it to distract and create this lie and whatever. But I got to tell you, the Constitution says you have to count every person in the country. for representation, not everybody who's here legally. So you got to get an idea of who's actually here. Because let's say you're gonna district to you've got a district that has a bunch of people in it. It only has like 20 legit people there, but like 80,000 people who are working under the table there. It's a representative of even the locals, the people who are citizens, because of the density of the urban environment they're in, deserve representation because those people are reacting to the influx of under the table or undocumented or illegal workers in their area. So fuck off.
The Rhino establishment in Georgia.
Jesus, the Rhino establishment. Notice how it's not just good enough that you can't just say rhinos and you can't just say establishment. It's fucking both.
Would rather have two Democrats, and I think both of them pretty radical, two radical Democrats in the U.S. Senate, than have MAGA U.S. senators. And Cosmo Man is the epitome of this, is he not?
100%. This is
well. Again, this should be a big sign to you. If your state has two Democratic senators, statewide offices, and you think there's a bunch of illegals out there that are, like raising the number of representatives in the state as far as in the Congress, all you're going to do is lower the number of districts in, House seats. But you'll still have two Democratic senators who, by the way, are very popular right now. Democratic congresspeople could run on the record of the senators in that state because they're happy with how things are going with their senators. They're very popular in the state. That this would not be the time when you should try to go, we own this joint. We could turn this whole place red. Like, motherfucker, statewide, you are losing. You lost both seats statewide. If you eliminate some districts, you're going to pare out a couple of Republican seats. And you're going to make a couple of other Republican seats purple and lean towards blue. And since they already have statewide Democrats, that's a trend that shows you that these voters might have had it with MAGA, had it with Trump, and will more than likely vote for what they would see as a sensible Democrat over fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene adjacent.
the worst of the worst. There's no way that you have Republicans completely in control of the state and then Democrats, radical Democrats running the federal office. And that's likely, and I don't know, my speculation about him switching parties is likely because he knows that he can't win in a state office. And he doesn't want to go back down to a county. He doesn't want to go in the opposite direction. And so in order to potentially run for Senate or do something at the federal level, he has to be in the Democrat Party because he can't make it in the Republican Party anymore. And you've got the Republicans that are
yeah, again, yet another reason, dumbass, why you shouldn't think you own the fucking state. You should not be drinking Marjorie Taylor Greene's Kool-Aid right now. She's about to leave the Republican Party. I mean, they booted her out of the Freedom Caucasians because she called Lauren Boebert a little bitch on the House floor. But you know they were just looking for an excuse, right? If it had been the other way around and Boebert had called her a bitch on the House floor, you think they would have kicked Boebert out? Not a chance.
Currently in office, for example, Chris Carr, the Attorney General. Everybody forgets the Fani Willis case in Atlanta is still open. I know she's a hot mess of a train wreck that's falling apart, but they haven't closed it. And Chris Carr, the Republican Attorney General.
Yeah, because crime has nothing to do with the prosecutor. It's still a crime. Whatever it is, they change prosecutors. The prosecutor falls out. They recuse themselves. If there was a corrupt prosecutor, the merits of the case still exist. That's why.
Who could look at this and say, yeah, it was not really right for you to hire your boyfriend to take kickbacks to prosecute your political opponents that you fundraised off of. He could do something about that.
By the way, none of those technically corrupt, none of them a crime. The question is, was he qualified, and was he paid to do a job he showed up for or not? Answer those questions, totally fine. The rest of it, shrug. And please, you're fucking kidding me, right? Todd Blanche just interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell.
And he's
alone.
chosen not to. And it's the same group of Republicans that have been in control of Georgia. And this is a very good sign that they're looking for a place to go because they know it's not sustainable to continue to do what they're doing in Georgia.
Yes, but where are they going? They're joining the Democratic Party. Asshole. That should tell you the trend of where they expect to vote. They're not stupid. They want to stay in office. And whether they're like legit in their change or whether they've just like the right wing's gone so far that they technically fall under like what would be a Reagan era Democrat now because it's just insane. And but the fact that they're like, if I want to keep my job, I should stay. I have to switch to being a Democrat is not a good sign if you're going to fucking redistrict the state and try to gain seats or use immigration as an excuse to undermine the voting in the state. You're just going to cut away at red districts, you fucking moron.
Before I let you go, because you're very intimately involved in this,
don't say intimate with.
John Solomon's going to join us with an update about he thinks Obama may have inadvertently laid out a smoking gun here. Are you still, and we've talked about this, we got to stick the landing. And Axios actually had a great story. I've got it up in Getter. It's a really good story, I think, yesterday.
Wait. This asshole still uses Getter? Yikes.
That I finally got up this morning about how MAGA is really completely focused on sticking the landing here on these prosecutions.
Right. Good luck. Yeah, I'm sure they'll all be helpful. What are they gonna? Did they show up at the fucking DOJ with their fucking pitchforks and their torches? A riot is an ugly thing, and it's about time we had one. Hold on. Axios, MAGA, Obama. I don't know, something like that. MAGA expectations soar after DJ orders Russia grand jury probe. Trump's Russiagate crusade enters fraught new territory. That was 2 weeks ago, 18 hours ago. I guess this is the, I don't know what he means by they're going to stick the landing, because I don't know what the fuck they would have a part of it. MAGA expectations soar. Yeah, they had high expectations about something else and some other legal situations involving some files, if I'm not mistaken, and how'd that turn out? The MAGA movement has spent the past 10 years demanding the arrest of President Trump's political enemies. Now, for the first time, the levers of power are aligned to pursue the goal, blah, blah, blah. Why it matters, Pam Bondi's grand jury, blah. Threat of criminal charges targeting such as James Comey. Brennan is no longer confined to the base's imagination. With Trump at his peak powers and the Justice Department brimming with loyalists, pretext of political will, MAGA is priming for a historic reckoning. Big picture, call it MAGA justice. Unless we see people tried and held accountable in orange jumpsuits and handcuffs, this is not going away. I got news for you. It's not going away then. You're not going to see Brennan in fucking handcuffs or Comey, dummy. It's not happening. Tulsi Gabbard is accused of treasonous conspiracy. Yeah, right. I mean, we've seen that. Many Gabbard's allegations rely on misleading or rehashed claims about the complex Russia investigation, including raw intelligence intercepts debunked by special counsel John Durham, which is the first person who did it, which is why this is not going anywhere, which is why again, this isn't even about Democrats or whether Obama will have to deal with this or Brennan or any of these. This is just yet another rug pull for the Republican Party. That's what this whole discussion. Understand this. This should be seen only as what it is. Lucy in the fucking football. Again. MAGA. She's telling you she's going to hold the football. Dummy. And it isn't happening. Yeah. You're gonna end up flat on your ass. The whole thing is fucking
dum 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 stupid.
Oi.
Dumb silly stupid dum dum.
It's so lame. And it's such just like lazy gaslighting. You motherfuckers think that anybody is going to take the bait on this lame-ass, dipshittery, water under the bridge, asked and answered bullshit from 7 fucking years ago. You think that distraction is going to pull everybody's eyes off of the fact that as soon as they come back, there's going to be a vote on the Epstein files? Asshole. They're just trying to flood August with this. And as soon as the House comes back, the conversation about releasing the Epstein files is going to come right back. Massey and all these folks, they have the votes. They have the votes to release them. Jesus. But keep trying, you know. I mean, again, it's sort of like, what would you do in this circumstance, right? What would you do? What's the alternative? Showing the actual files and what's in them? Good Lord. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Whatever happens to Trump, whatever reaction he gets from the base, whatever flip out they have, whatever, you know, whether it ruins the Republican Party, shaves 15 points off the election next time and in 2028, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, it's better than what's in the files. Whatever happens, no matter what people say about Donald Trump, no matter, you know, what the conclusions they reach in their own head, no matter, you know, how much they're raging at him, no matter how bad it gets, if everybody in MAGAdom, you know, like everybody that was the tenant media, Russia groups, the fucking Rogan and all these assholes, if they all go, I think he's a pedophile, fuck him, and they all go away, or they're all calling for his arrest even, no, as bad as that would be, what's actually in the files is worse. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I'm telling you. So now, everybody has this big fear. Well, if Trump kicks off, or he gets, you know, the Epstein shit catches up with him, and he gets bounced, you know, is J.D. Vance going to, you know, be worse or better or whatever? Okay, first of all, Trump is a lame ass, but he's got the illusion of success that a lot of MAGAdom have bought into, right? No amount of being Trump adjacent will make J.D. Vance look like any less of a dweeb. And that's the problem they have. Now, I will say, sorry, hold on, let me open this up. I will say that they will probably do their level best to try and make him as Dan Quayle with a beard as they possibly can. But the idea that this guy is going to, you know, have people making gold statues of him or wearing fucking, you know, a slightly different color MAGA hat because it fits his tie, or believes J.D. Vance is the fucking messiah, the way they believed it about Trump is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He's a dweeb. He knows it. You know it. Dogs know it. So he's trying to, I mean, he's got a really difficult situation here. Because if that's what takes Trump down, if this whole Epstein thing takes Trump down ultimately, he's got to distance himself from the man. But he can't do it and retain MAGA. And if he's running up against, you know, anybody that's an easy setup for Democrats, whether it's Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer or somebody like that, without any, what I would say, social baggage, person of color, gay or a woman, anybody without having to sell that to the American people, which we've obviously had a rough time doing. I know 3 million extra votes in the popular vote. I'm with you. I voted for all of them. I get it. I would vote for Pete Buttigieg tomorrow. Understand. But what they know is that if he's up against anybody that they can't sell that dear God a woman, dear God a gay, dear God another black, dear God an Indian, dear God an Asian, dear God a Hispanic, whatever the fuck, they can sell to MAGAdom to bring that back. Without that thing, he's doomed, and he knows it. Because he's a fucking dweeb. And Trump knows he's a dweeb. And he needs him to be a dweeb. And I'm presuming Megyn Kelly knows he's a dweeb. They tend to say he's smart a lot. That's the compensation. Right? It's like calling somebody cute in that realm. He's very smart. He's very smart. Okay. There are a lot of other smart people who are not dweebs. I'm telling you. And yeah. And there's nothing in his history that inspires confidence. Trump at least had the illusion that he wrote Art of the Deal, or the illusion that he, made it through 6 bankruptcies. Not, as we would decry his bankruptcies, a lot of Republicans would go, and he made it through, and he's still here, right? They would view that as an example of his bootstrapping, and not the fact that he'll make a fucking deal with the mob and the Russians, right? So let's see. This is Trump's answer on MAGA heir apparent. What's Trump's answer on the heir apparent to MAGA movement? What it really means with Bevin and Walworth. I don't know. Are those are the 2 puppets that are in the balcony and the? Okay, yeah.
Trump commented, and it's a very interesting.
It almost is. That's hilarious. It's Statler and Waldorf.
Comment, and you have to listen to the exact wording, but he commented on J.D. Vance and his future role the other day when he was asked on Tuesday in SOT 7. Listen.
This weekend, Secretary of State Rubio said that he thought J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. You could clear the entire Republican field right now. Do you agree that the heir apparent to MAGA is J.D. Vance?
Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. I think Marco is also somebody that maybe would get together with J.D. in some form. I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on the stage right here. So it's too early, obviously, to talk about it, but certainly he's doing a great job, and he would be probably favored at this point.
Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on that, Andrew?
Well,
What he's saying is he would need Marco Rubio holding his hand. And Trump thinks that Marco Rubio can't win, which he can't. And so, and he knows they might not be able, he doesn't think Vance can do it on his own. He's going to need training wheels. And he thinks Rubio might be the training wheels on that if he'll go for it, which he absolutely would. Rubio would absolutely fold in as VP to J.D. Vance and be his Dick Cheney. Will that ticket go anywhere? No.
We played that clip and talked about it because it's so fascinating. I mean, the question was whether he would be whether he's the heir apparent to the MAGA movement, right. Which is not to say who is the next presidential nominee for the Republican Party. 2 different questions.
Is he trying to say that Don Jr. is? That, Don Jr. is really going to be the heir apparent to the MAGA movement. He'll run MAGA after this, coked up pectoral implants and all.
And then in his answer, it sort of sounded like at the end of it that he was sort of alighting to the second. He says where, he would be favored. Well, that's a political term.
Yeah, it sounds like a standard run-of-the-mill politician bullshitting. Good point.
It's always dangerous to try to parse the president's language too carefully.
Right. Unless you're good at talking to toddlers, I guess.
But I thought that was a really interesting statement. And I think,
interesting.
Clearly, he was answering it honestly, which he does from time to time. And he was saying that,
he does from time to time.
That's what he thinks, that J.D. Vance is the leader. But to put Marco Rubio as a potential leader of the MAGA movement, again, that's
which, by the way, Trump always does. It's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I've been noticing this for a while from him. Whenever he's asked this question, he mentions both of them. And he clearly hasn't, in his own mind, made up his mind on who he really wants to pass the baton to.
Yeah, and the question, of course, is who's at the top of the ticket and who's the number 2 slot. I think those 2 principles might have different views.
I don't think JD wants to spend another 4 or 8 years as vice president.
Yeah.
No.
But
he's a lot younger.
Oh, well, then I guess we got to give it to him then, huh?
For the Marco.
I think, sorry, I have it written down here somewhere. It says tough shit.
Yeah. But I think that Rubio being positioned as a MAGA guy, that's really interesting because it does mean, he's about the one guy who sort of went from being a Bushy, really, to being, at the head of the MAGA movement. That's pretty extraordinary, pretty deft politics.
Okay, no. He's not. Trump is talking about him being the VP to JD Vance. He's not talking about running the fucking movement. He means heir apparent to the presidency. Shut the fuck up. Like you don't speak Trump at this fucking point. Rubio is not fucking MAGA. What he does is he will toe the line while running the government. What he means is that he can bullshit everybody that he's on the team and still do the stuff necessary to keep the government functioning that the Republicans by and large know needs to happen or want to have happen. That's why USAID was folded into the State Department and he was put in charge of it, and about 80% of it was still preserved, was because Rubio will just, like other Republicans, know it needs to exist, but will just hide that it exists to please MAGA. That's not being the MAGA leader. The MAGA leader is, we don't need that shit. We shouldn't even be paying for it. Fuck that. He's the fucking Band-Aid on this blister.
Very. I know, I heard you guys talking about on Real Clear Politics about how, I think it was Carl who was saying, he started off as like a Tea Party darling. And then he asked him, or somebody asked him, like, how'd you manage that? And he said, I don't know. Like, they just voted for me, you know? Like, but he's maneuvered it. I mean, he went from Lil Marco, which Trump used to say, Lil with an apostrophe, Lil Marco, to mention in every breath by Trump as possibly the heir apparent, though this one clearly seemed to favor Vance, Tom, which, you know, obviously I'm sure J.D. Vance.
No, it didn't favor Vance. The question was led by Ducey, who asked specifically, can you clear the decks on behalf of J.D. Vance? Is he the heir apparent? It was a leading question, dumbass.
Would have been quite...
He didn't bring it up and like, who's the heir apparent? You could clear the decks right now with just deciding somebody is. Well, J.D. Vance, I think. Like, see how that works?
Happy to hear him say that. And by the way, here's some more support for J.D. Vance as the heir apparent from CNN's Harry Enton. Take a listen to SOT 7B.
Where does he stand on this?
You know, I'm going to quote the esteemed scholar Larry David and say, pretty good. J.D. Vance at 40%. There's no one even close to him. Ron DeSantis back at single digits at 8%. Donald Trump Jr. back at 7%. But keep in mind that early favorites have actually gone on to win the nomination 63% of the time, those who have run since 1980. And when you're dealing with fields that are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, upwards of north of 20, and all of a sudden you're telling me that the early poll leader, who is J.D. Vance, that those win more than 50% of the time? That is why I say it looks pretty gosh darn good, or pretty good for the man from Ohio. How about vice presidents sitting...
Jesus Christ. Laying it on a little thick, aren't you? Also, yeah, I agree. And Bush got trounced. He was obviously the heir apparent after Reagan, and it only granted him one term because he was a dweeb.
Vice presidents, the last 5 sitting...
If his son hadn't had a war that he started, that he could argue, like, you can't, whatever, you can't switch boats in the middle of a river, like, jump from one raft to the other. If he hadn't had that, he would have gotten voted out as well, just like his old man.
Vice presidents who ran. Richard Nixon in 60. He won. How about Hubert Horatio Humphrey in 68? That's HHH. That's a real acronym for him. How about Bush the first in 88? Won. Al Gore in 2001. Kamala Harris in 2024. Won. All of the last 5 sitting vice presidents who ran for their party's nomination won. So it's not just the polling. Historically speaking, if J.D. Vance gets in this fight and he's the sitting vice president...
No, won the primary. Simmer down. And by the way, out of those, 2 of the 5 actually got into office.
The history books say, hey, he's got a pretty gosh darn chance of going.
Yes, he has a pretty gosh darn good chance of becoming the Dan Quayle on this list.
All the way, at least the general election, because 5 out of 5.
Tom, thoughts?
Well, not to nitpick Harry, but Kamala didn't really win. She
True. She did not even win her party's nomination. Win the nomination.
But look, he makes a good point, which is, look, J.D. Vance.
Yeah, the CNN video is silly, Alyosha. I agree.
Has done a good job as vice president, I think, in the eyes of Trump supporters. And Trump clearly,
by being out of the eyes of Trump supporters,
thinks highly of him. And I think Trump is right. He just based on, if you were a neutral observer, you'd say, yeah, I mean, he's has the highest profile now. He has the highest name ID. I mean, he's going to be in pole position to win the nomination. The only reason that he might not.
Hey, asshole, it's 60-40 anybody else. 60% are like, nah, somebody else. He might get the nomination, but he's going to do it in a wide field with a narrow group. And in the case of like fucking George, like H.W. Bush and Nixon in this case, like they had like 80% or something at one point. That was when it was like understood that was the whole point of teeing it up. Good Lord.
Or he might have some vulnerabilities. We need to know where the country's going to be, where the Trump presidency is going to be, where the economy is going to be when.
Well, it's not looking good.
JD Vance, because that's always the problem, right? He's going to be basically running for a Trump third term, even though they're non-consecutive. And so that could be a real asset to him with Republicans, or depending on how things work out, it might be a bit of a drag on him. So we'll see. But
yeah. So what? Maybe if it's up to him to pardon Maxwell in the end, because Trump, is in a fucking stroked out wheelchair situation.
But clearly he is the guy, and I think he knows that. And I think Trump was sort of intimating, look, a Vance Rubio ticket would be ideal in terms of his mind and the MAGA movement. Yeah.
It would be dreamy. But there's no way the guy who ran Celebrity Apprentice for all those years is going to give up the contest this early. We're 7 months into Trump in his second term. He's the star. He would like to remain the star. There's no way he is going to let somebody else become the star by naming them the heir apparent. Probably until the very, very, very end, and maybe not even then. We'll have to wait to find out.
Right.
Yeah. What he's been saying lately
that he's going to run for a third term at the end.
Right. Yes, please. Yes. Fuck's sake. Oh my God. Let him fuck up the Republican primary, and then literally the Constitution saying, nah, piss off, you can't do that. And he's already cocked it up for everybody else who played along.
He says
he's not going to have a third term. He's like, if he finishes this one, it'll be a fucking miracle.
Probably won't.
Yeah, he probably won't, because he'll probably be on a fucking respirator. Jesus Christ. And I'm not wishing that on anybody. That's not how I operate. I'm just speaking frankly about the dude's brain is turning to tapioca and his health is shit. Also, Obama could run again. Can you imagine? Ugh. Hilarious. So, all right. What? God damn it. Today just breezed by, largely because so Trump is apparently going to have a meeting at some point with Russia at some point. And then there was this statement that was made on, was it on, he's where Trump said it's up to, where is it? It's up to Putin when the time limit is for his deal. Let's see. Take a platform seriously. Where is this? So, but ultimately, it had a lot to do with people who the fuck is running the joint, asshole? And because he's like, it's up to Putin when we'll have, we'll find. Yeah, here it is. So this was, scroll down, wait till it loads. The video link there. Where is it? Here you go. So this is them asking. Now, I don't read as much into these things as a lot of the people do, just because I understand the sloppiness of his talking. But as his brain turns to tapioca more by the day, it's concerning that it might become real to him. Even though he's talking out of his ass, he might go, my ass has a point.
deadline for Vladimir Putin agreeing to a ceasefire still stand tomorrow? Is that fluid now that talks are... What? Is your deadline...
Yeah, by the way, he heard what he said. He was like, wait, the deadline's tomorrow?
Still standing for Vladimir Putin to agree to a ceasefire tomorrow, or is that fluid now?
It's going to be up to him. We're going to see what he has to say. It's going to be up to him. Very disappointed. Yeah.
Do you have to meet with...
So that was it. That's the whole thing. Oh yeah, sorry, I should have warned you about that. Nut warning. But the reason this matters is because Vinny and Peanut Butter Dickhead, the title of their thing, Trump is a lion. Well, he's always lying. Putin requests Trump summit to end Russia-Ukraine war. No, he doesn't. Why would he need to do that? He could end it tomorrow. What are you talking about? Witkoff knows what the marching orders are. He knows what the lines are. Trump basically just wants to show him some fucking... I think he wants to show him some negatives. Like, hand him a loop and some negatives and go, take a look at these pictures. So can I have Ukraine now? Right. That's I think, why he wants this meeting.
You're dealing with a guy named Putin. The other day, Putin and them are talking to each other. And it's like, hey, you know, who called who? Because this whole story about Putin...
Is this asshole in Vegas right now? Can I run over there and beat on the glass of this studio? Where the fuck are they? Look at that. I mean, isn't that the Bellagio? The fountain?
And Trump envoy hold productive meeting on Ukraine as U.S. deadline nears. He still hasn't finished, so you want him to show joy and peace? You can't show that. You can have it internally, but you got to keep it to yourself. When you're raising your kids and you have boys, you got to still show toughness. So this story comes out that...
Wait, who's the boy in this situation, you fucking weirdo?
You know, Russia issues nuclear weapons warning, no limits. And then Putin's asked the question on this meeting that they're going to be having. I'll read it to you, and I want, Rob, if you can find a clip. So,
well, there are some limits on Russia's nukes, namely that they're not 100% sure that if they launch them, they won't fall on the Kremlin.
So, President Putin met with Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, in Moscow on Wednesday, when Putin's foreign policy advisor, Yuri Ushakov, stated Russia had conveyed signals to the American side on the Ukraine.
Oh, yeah, this is the conveyed signals bullshit. They conveyed signals to us and we conveyed signals to them. Like, you spoke, you dumb motherfucker. What'd you say? Fucking conveyed signals. Would you stand in the back of the room with fucking, like, flags doing semaphore? Conveyed signals. Well, hold on. Why is it not playing? There you go.
Ukraine issue and received corresponding signals from Trump.
Yeah, that was I saw this clip like 2 fucking days ago. Jesus Christ. These guys are so goddamn behind.
Describing the 3-hour meeting as productive, the meeting also...
He's Iranian. I think he grew up in the Iranian diaspora in the United States or whatever. His family brought him over when he was fairly young. That's why the accent. Although I think it might have something to do with New York more than anything else.
Also attended by senior Russian officials, Kirill Dmitriev focused on Ukraine and prospects for Russia-U.S. strategic cooperation as Washington presses for a ceasefire before Trump's Friday deadline, despite the talk.
Deadline. That's adorable.
Trump imposed an additional 25% tariff on India for buying Russian oil, citing they're fueling the Russian war machine. So, Rob, if you can play the clip that you have, this is President Putin being asked about the meeting. Go for it.
Понимаете, ради бога, извините, что прерываю такую интеллектуальную экскурсию, но в свете последних новостей о вашей будущей встрече с Трампом, а кто был инициатором этого саммита?
Also, by the way, the White House, insofar as I know, had not announced that they were going to have this conversation before this. That this guy actually said, I hear you guys are going to talk. And then Putin said, yes, we're going to. And then Trump's can't go, we never talked. What the fuck is he talking about? So he couldn't push back on it because he's a giant gaping asshole. And so this looks like a manipulation. This is the same as when that Brian dude from RSBN asked questions of Trump that Trump desperately wants to be asked. Putin, nobody's interrupting a conversation with Vladimir fucking Putin. They've got, this is staged, okay? This is staged. What's there? First place, it doesn't matter anymore what words were said.
готовы нам помочь организовать мероприятия подобного рода. Вот один из друзей, президент Объединенных Арабских Эмиратов.
Yeah, they're not having a fucking meeting in the UAE next week. Trump is not flying to the fucking UAE, and if he does, it's because Putin has, like, the Epstein files. Has his own fucking copy.
А что с Зеленским? С ним встреча будет?
Я уже говорил неоднократно, что я ничего в целом не имею против, это возможно, но для этого...
Yeah, we gotta have certain conditions if I'm gonna meet with Zelensky. Namely, third floor apartment, close to the window. He's between me and the street.
You can pause it right there. So, you know, when I had the president on the podcast, I played a clip where I said, Mr. President, here's the only time I've ever seen you get emotional. Do you remember that, Rob, in the podcast when I showed it to him?
Yes.
And I'm showing him the clip. I don't know if you remember.
I love that. I love that clip.
Yeah. I showed him the clip.
Yeah, it wasn't about the Epstein files, was it, Vinny? I guess not. Okay.
And I noticed that, Rob, is there a way you can find that clip?
I'm going to find it right now.
I'm showing him the clip, and I'm like, it looks like you're getting emotional because you're speechless on the way the audience is reacting to you. And I said, can you please watch this? So he watches.
Yeah, it's exhaustion.
This, and you see him go like this. He crosses his arms, and he's watching it. You can tell.
If you project onto him and you don't understand what a true sociopath thinks like.
You can tell he's holding back, okay? You can tell he's holding back as he's getting emotional when I'm showing this clip.
What did you ask him at that point?
I wanted to see if there was going to be an element.
Yeah, they're in Vegas. They're at this. I want to say this is in. I don't know if it's the Sirius studio or something. They're one of the fucking hotels. I got to go over there with my fucking mic.
Of him showing the vulnerable side of him for America to fall in love with the fact that this man also has feelings and emotion. His life is also hard. It's what.
Oh, boo, fuckity who. His life is also hard? Sorry. Does anybody know anybody else whose father bought $15 million worth of poker chips and never cashed them in an illegal attempt to keep his shitty casino that smelled like garbage afloat? How is that what you mean? It was a hard time for him?
I talked about the fact that a father goes through three. Yeah, this is it. Can you back up a little bit, Rob?
Yep.
You're so good at finding this stuff, Rob. Go back a little bit.
I love this.
Watch this. And I just want you to see his body language. Can you go back when I start saying it? Go ahead. Watch this. To you. And I said, wow. Okay, this is South Dakota. So this is Rapid City, South Dakota. You're speaking. And all of a sudden, you have this moment. If you can play this clip, I want to get a reaction to this. Go for it, Rob.
And help build America into the greatest nation in the history of the world.
Oh, my God. Really? Gia, you don't think it was the bullshit soundtrack they were playing? The fucking QAnon music?
That music. This is when he was going through it.
He wasn't going through it. This was a staged, he learned this from fucking Skank Kuhneman and all these dumb fucks at like Copeland and like it's this regular like road preacher bullshit.
I hope it shows.
It doesn't show. He purses his lips when he's like, this is stupid.
That music. Look at it. Look at it. Like he's really like.
Look at it. You see it?
No, he isn't.
Reflecting. Emotional. Like what he's done for the country.
Whoa, fuck off. Dude. I'm fairly certain Ghislaine cried at Epstein's funeral or while she watched him go free, whatever happened.
Some people would be crying right now.
No.
Yes, idiots. Psychopaths. Sycophants. Morons. Assholes.
He is crying.
Yeah.
You just don't.
No, he is not crying.
Some people would be crying right now.
No, he is crying.
Yeah.
You just don't see it.
Exactly.
Karate Man cry on the inside. That way he don't show his weaknesses. Yeah, what are you, ignorant? He's crying, you just can't see it. Yes, why are we unable to see it? Is it the complete lack of tears, which is what would be necessary for this to qualify as fucking crying?
Dum, 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 dum.
Jesus.
Dum, dum, stupid.
What the?
Dumb, silly, stupid, dum, dum.
He's crying, you just can't see it. Yeah, me too, asshole. I'm crying too. It's just that I'm so good at hiding it. That's what I'm doing. I'm really moved by this, but I'm such a fucking fraud. I can't let myself be seen crying and moved by the genuine emotion of Epstein's wingman playing QAnon fucking music. Jesus.
No, let it keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Look at his arms crossed.
Look at his arms.
Well, let me explain.
I'm tired. Oh, and sorry. I think we need a second one of these. That's going to be rough. Let me explain. I don't cry. Crying is women's work. Like raising children and getting grabbed by the pussy.
So I think I'm the only politician that ever spoke to music before.
How was the conversation? Did you have a good time speaking to music? Is Mr. Music in the room with us right now? Spoke to music before. Spoke over music, you mean? Also, yeah, there's a reason why you don't do that. It's fucking stupid.
And I do that sometimes at the
yes, you do.
the end
you can
of some of
pause
the
it.
rallies.
Yeah,
wish we could show.
You can pause it because it blows a hole in my whole premise that he's a thoughtful man and that he didn't just turn it into a pathetic attempt at ego again. The fuck is wrong with these guys? Besides everything.
The video while he's watching himself because his arms weren't crossed.
He started doing
He's holding himself back, and he knows he can't.
Yeah, because he hated the music thing. His people talked him into it. He found it embarrassing, but it worked with the Q people. It was right up there with putting on a fucking McDonald's uniform. He did anything he could to win because they're like, if you don't win, you're going to go to fucking jail and you got to move these fuckers and you got to hold your finger up like which finger would you stick in my ass? Like that whole QAnon where we go wah. Like it was that. It's fucking, well shit. It's this. We are a nation in the climb. We're climbing like no one's ever climbed before. These are numbers people have ever seen, and we will. Since I can't quote scripture without my feet starting to burn, I will stand up here like an absolute tit and ramble the more boring parts of the speech, and since I can't rouse you, we'll make a little movie out of it. Also, if I brain fart, and lose my place, you won't really notice if there's music playing, because if I did this without the music, you would realize my brain is Skippy Superchunk. Play that clip again where where I ask him if he's crying and he crosses his arms like he's trying to be fucking Butch.
Show it. You know why he can't show it?
Because he doesn't have it? Because he's a fucking sociopath?
Let me explain to you why. He's in a, again, this is my analysis, so it could...
Right, we know. This is your projection.
Be fully off.
It is.
In that mode, he knows deep down inside it's love and joy, and he wants to show emotion.
What? All right. You guys are fucking with me now. What? Since when? Love and joy? What? Where did that come from? Love and joy.
But he knows he can't show it to his enemies.
What? Sorry, so he's crying because he can't show joy to his enemies, or they'll win because they see him happy? What? What the? I'm baffled. I'm amazed. All right, congratulations, peanut butter dickhead. I did not think you assholes could surprise me. This is, and this is saying a lot, this is some of the most batshit stuff I have ever heard someone say about Trump that hasn't been accused of blowing him on his plane, namely Laura Loomer. This, short of her, I have not heard, and maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was like, you know, blow him on the plane adjacent in her mind. This is, none of this, none of this charts, asshole. None of it, love and joy. Shut the fuck up.
You cannot show that you have that.
Why? What are you talking about? I would think you wouldn't show your tears to your enemy, right? Why do you go, hey, I'm happy to be here. We're going to win. This is exciting. Why wouldn't you? What happened? What are you talking about? How does this make any sense? Sorry, you can't show love and joy. You can't show you can't let your enemies see you being joyful. But near tears is good. What the fuck?
They can only see the psycho side of you. You cannot...
What? Wait a minute. So, I'm sorry. So what he was showing was that he was fucking... The music is him being... All right, maybe that's it. Yes, this is fucking psycho. Playing this shit is fucking psycho. But I don't think it's the kind of psycho you're talking about. What the hell?
Show love. You have to sometimes show a little bit of anger and pride. You have to. That's used everyone.
Anger and pride? And also, sorry, he wants to cry because he's so happy, but he can't because he's got to show anger and pride. The only two characteristics he's ever had his whole fucking life.
Once in a while. For them to know you're crazy. You ever seen that scene with Christopher Walken in The Line when he's...
Oh my God. Here we go. Pop culture references for 200.
Telling that story.
Oh, I love it.
Have you ever seen...
movie?
Rob, type in Christopher Walken Lion.
Oh.
You ever seen this?
Oh, Adam's gonna love
let me tell you, Rob. If you just go on,
I carried this watch up my ass for 2 years so I could bring it to you. The ice is gonna break.
So this is the part about. That's the one, Rob. That's the one. Let the commercial go. This validates what he had to do. If you is that the?
I don't know. Is it
this part? Is that the scene? Oh, listen.
I like talking to guys in the men's room. If you don't mind, while we're having this conversation, I'm gonna press play on my boombox. Now, you have to understand, man to man, in a bathroom, two guys talking, this takes the pressure off. I'm trying to tell you. Boink, boink. Butt stuff. Okay? I'm gonna need more cowbell. That's all I need. Fucking hell. These assholes.
The audience has to
Oh yes,
see
yes.
the line speed.
But
this
is in the movie, the pool movie.
Rob,
yes, the Pool House Junkies or whatever.
I just texted it to you.
You talking about from the one on?
I'm a lion. I'm a fighter. I'm the kind of guy you got to worry about. And I'm in the bathroom with you, standing behind you at the urinal. You go to hell too. You go to hell too.
Rob, just make sure. I'm almost positive that's it.
You know, she's not just another notch on your belt.
Robbie, that's it.
That's not the one.
I said,
Terrible timing, Adam. This is a different. Watch this one here.
This one.
Watch this one here.
Ooh.
This is
it.
Oh my God, this is fucking pathetic. Nothing is less being the lion than showing a clip from a movie of a dude doing man stuff while you all basically slip a hand under the desk. Oh, watch this. Watch how masculine Walken gets in this situation. If you don't mind. Jesus Christ. What a dickhead.
Watch
sorry, did I?
Junkies.
Get this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big.
As you do. I hope I'm getting the story right. He might be in a zoo. Anyway.
He's so hot.
As Africa has the occasional tendency to be. It's hot.
He doesn't want to move.
Who does in that situation?
Now, the little lion cubs, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything.
But it's hot. Sometimes you're too hot. Too hot to handle.
The lioness, she starts messing with him, coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this. And they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas,
ducks. Everybody's fucking with this guy. Pelican, he walks up like an asshole. This pelican standing there, picking on him.
They're barking at him, laughing at him.
Cooing in some cases.
They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day...
he stops saying domain, because nobody pronounces it that way and lasts very long in the jungle.
That lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody. Runs like the wind.
He's got, I don't know if he had the runs or...
Eats everything in his path.
Yeah, eats everything in his path. By the fourth pelican, he's full.
Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals.
who's really hot at the time.
Who is?
Wow.
Huh? Hey, mister? I just want to wash my hands.
Wow.
Pause it.
What a freaking scene.
All right. No, look. Hey, no disrespect. Fantastic work. Fantastic. Always good, you know. Always the best. But not his best. Jesus. That is so... Can I just tell you, like, I feel like on behalf of all the men watching, I think we all felt our balls get smaller just being around that weakness. What a scene to walk up to this guy and say that to him when you're both in the toilet. Trump's like that guy in the fucking bathroom walking up to you. And he walks into the bathroom, he kicks in the door, and he's like, America. America. You gotta know. We're gonna make you great again, you know. Try and make it great. But you can't, you know. Not without more cowbell. Jesus Christ. Ah, God, these guys. I'm amazed. This way to top it off. I'm over time anyway, so I feel like we'll end it there because we're not going to get any more gold out of they're a lion. Okay, Trump is always lying, dipshits. Shut the fuck up and move on. Regular shows tomorrow, and I have very cute Bucky news tomorrow as well. I'll see if I can bring him in at the beginning of the show. Rob's going to be on with me tomorrow, and I've got to work something out with him, so I'm going to end the show now, and then I got to do a little tech with him if I can on something he's trying, because I think they might be out at their studio or something like that, so I got to check. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a fantastic show. You go to hell too. You go to hell. You go to hell too. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. It's fantastic. Just don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, I'm not gonna ask you again. It's wrong. You're making me ask over and over and over again. I'm not gonna do it. I don't have to. I don't want to. I'm gonna. I'll dog walk you. I'll fucking dog walk you. Take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. You go to hell too. You go to hell too. You guys are wonderful. I love you. I'll see you in the morning. Thank you guys so much. Because I'm a karate man. Karate man brews on the inside. I'll fuck you up. Yeah, what are you, ignorant? There's only one lion here, and it can't stop lying. That's right. That's right. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. I gotta go. God damn. I got work to do. Come on. I'm living in a van down by the river.